Welcome to the Costello Coaching Podcast, where we talk about developing the human within the athlete. My vision is to enhance people's performance in all aspects of their lives. I hope you enjoy. I'm here with Sam Fisher, absolute all-star of a person and soccer player who's had a wonderful journey throughout her soccer career. And she was a standout all-conference Women of the Year soccer player at Notre Dame, and became a second-round draft pick for the Chicago Red Stars, currently a professional soccer player playing at the highest of levels. And we're going to break down what it takes to achieve at that level. So if you're that little girl that's trying to become that professional, or if you're that young guy that wants to be a professional athlete and you want to know what it takes to achieve at that level, well, it starts now. It starts as young as possible. It starts dedication to the craft. And Sam's going to explain what it takes to achieve at the highest of levels and what she's learned from the highest of achievers. So I'm super honored to have Sam on the Costello Coaching Podcast, and I can't wait to get this thing started. Sam is an absolute stud in many different directions. The reason I want her on my podcast is because she has a really good insight of what it takes to be successful at a very, very high level and understands the work that needs to be put in. But as she has reached the pinnacle and the top of the women's soccer world, she's been challenged in different ways than she hasn't been in her career to this point. So in life, we're always growing. I'm obviously very interested in how the human develops more so than how the athlete develops and how those interplay. And I'm just sitting here reading her accolades, and it's unbelievable. She was 5 seasons, 91 games, 84 starts, 2-time captain, 29 goals, 15 assists, 73 points, 2021 All ACC First Team, 2021 United Soccer Coaches All Region First Team, 2021 Top Drawer Soccer Ranking number 36. Like, this list goes on and on and on of all the accolades that she's been able to achieve. And oh, by the way, she was nominated to be up for Women of the Year in NCAA sports. So I'm here with Sam Fisher, and I'm so excited to do this with you, Sam.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited.
Yeah. So let's start in your youth career. Okay. What gave you the passion to want to play soccer, and where did that begin? And what led you to, and what drove you to become what you are today?
So I grew up in a soccer family. I have 2 older sisters who both played collegiate sports. They played soccer and golf in college, and I didn't get the golf part, but I was always around like their soccer games and going to their practices and traveling with them. So I was just always been around it, and I loved it from when I was so little that like I spent so much time around the game. Like I just started loving it.
You just naturally started loving it. So yeah. You grew up with 2 older sisters, right? Mm-hmm. And both competitive athletes.
Oh, yeah.
So what sports did they play?
Well, they did a lot more growing up than I did, but like their main 2 were soccer and golf. Soccer and golf.
Mm-hmm. So you grew up kind of going to their events and everything?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's pretty funny. You're like the youngest child. My brother, Jack, he grew up going to everyone's game. So like, it's funny, like the little joke in our family, like at dinner, if have guests over or whatever, my parents will always tell the story. Jack, when he was in his car seat, would ask the question. He would ask 3 different questions. He'd say, "Are we going to Tommy's game?" And no. Are we going to Teen's game? No. Well, what practice? And so that was kind of like the running joke. Like Jack always knew that if he was going somewhere, he was going to someone's game or someone's practice. But then he becomes the best athlete in the house and succeeds because, you know, his older siblings went through things and he learned and experienced from them. So what's one of the biggest things that one of your sisters kind of shared with you or coached you on as you've grown up in the sport?
They kind of just taught me a lot about that competitive edge.
Mm-hmm.
My oldest sister is 8 years older than me, and my middle sister is 6 years older than me. So like whenever we would do anything, they always had the upper edge on me. Mm-hmm. And so it was hard to try to beat them, but they like instilled that competitive edge in me from such a young age, which I'm super grateful for.
Yeah. And they were able to do that for you. But What makes you that competitive person? Have you done any self-reflection and kind of figured out like why you're an ultra competitor?
I don't know, honestly. Like I wouldn't say I'm always super competitive, but like about certain things, I get very competitive, like soccer being one of them. Like board games, I'll get competitive, but like outside of that, I'm not like super competitive. If that makes sense. I don't really get that, but I don't know.
But like, what if you're, I know you know how to play golf pretty well. What if you're on the golf course? Do you get competitive out there?
Yeah. And that's like not the place where I should get competitive because I don't have the skills for it. But like, for example, I went to go play one week and had like the round of my life. And then I went to go play with my sister and my dad. And I had like the worst round of my life. And it was just so humbling.
Did you think it was going to cross over?
Oh, yeah. I was feeling good. I went in feeling really good and left like that was the last time I played golf. And that was about like a month and a half ago.
Yeah.
So we'll see when I get back out there. But yeah.
That was so you haven't played in a month and a half. What's up with that? It's off season. Come on, you got to hit the course.
It's been raining. It's been raining and I'm not going out there in the rain more than I have to.
Yeah, that's funny though. So you're giving me a little insight on like what your dad's approach was like through your youth career, leading into your high school career. I know that you had to be very focused and driven, especially in it's a highly populated sport. So there's a lot of girls that want to be successful, want to go play college soccer. There's a lot of girls that play travel soccer. What did your kind of life look like? Start maybe like 7th grade. When did it get really competitive? Actually, is probably the first question I have for you. When did you get like really focused and dialed in?
Probably since I was like 8 years old.
8?
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, I started playing soccer when I was younger than that, but like seriously, like about it, probably around 9 or so. I played up a year until I was about 14. And then that's when I made the jump back down to my age. Cause like we had gone ECNL. I don't know if you know what ECNL is, but
explain that.
That was just like the league for, that was like the top league in club soccer. And so when my age reached that level, that's when I made the jump down. Also, like the team got a new coach. He was like one of the best coaches in our club, Christy Walker. And I still talk to her to this day. But when she became the coach, it was like a no-brainer for me to join that team. And then apart from that, like I was just always doing like private trainings outside of practice itself. So it was like whether I was at practice or private training, like almost every day I had something to do with soccer. And it was fun, but it was also like a lot from a young age.
So let's go back to like 14-year-old Sam. Where are you? Are you Grace Brethren?
No, I don't even know what grade that is, but I went to Grace
8th grade.
Brethren.
So you're 8th grade.
Okay, then yeah, I was Grace Brethren. Yeah, I went to Grace starting at 7th grade, but before that I was just elementary up.
Okay, so Sam's like daily routine as an 8th grader is you go to middle school. You laugh at it, but it's like
I think about what I was able to do when I was that young, and I cannot do that anymore.
Really?
Just like
so
the
it's like
amount of
work.
Yeah, so I would like go to school. Are you talking about like a day in the life?
Yeah.
Me?
Yeah,
Okay.
so you go to school.
I go to school. That ends around like 3 or so.
Yep.
I would go to Jack in the Box and get like 4 tacos.
No way.
Yeah, like it was really bad. I had like an addiction to Jack in the Box tacos.
That's funny.
With extra hot sauce. Have that, and then we would usually have like team practice at like 4:30 or 6:30, something like that. And that was like 3 days a week. And then the other 2 days of the week, I would go to school. We'll see if I got my tacos. I don't know. But then from there, I would do CrossFit. Okay. And then I would go to like my private training.
Okay, so you would do practice, CrossFit, then private training?
No, I would do CrossFit and then private training, or I would do like my team practice on other days.
Got you. And who was your coach that you did most of your private training with?
I had 2. One of them was Clint Greenwood.
Okay.
He's from Europe, super knowledgeable guy. And then my other one was Willie Diaz. And he's a boys coach down in Irvine now. And
sweet.
Yeah, just saw him this past week. let me train with their boys team, which is again very humbling. But they've been with me from when I was super young.
Yeah. So like you're just extremely dedicated. At what point, because I know that it happens, like there's internal battles for people that work at that capacity, whether like whatever, if it's in a sport or if it's in a craft or in work. I'm just kind of like thinking to myself, like I know I was highly dedicated like yourself, like at that age. Right now my workouts, like training, baseball skill, pitching coaches, hitting coaches, like travel teams, like the whole deal, like traveling the country, playing the sport. But there was definitely times where I would like, get in the car and just cry like on the way home. You know what I mean? Like did any of that come up, or was it just like free and easy? You're going out and playing, everything's good. Do you remember any of that?
Definitely. I think it hit me a little bit later in high school because I would consider myself like a pretty social person.
Sure.
And as I got older, like I had already committed to Notre Dame. I think it was going into my junior year of high school I committed. And so I was like, I'm already committed. And I started like wanting to hang out with my friends more.
Sure. Something natural.
Yeah. Something I like.
It's so bad. You wanted to hang out with your friends.
And so that just started to like be in my mind more than like it was before. And I just kind of had to almost put that back to the back burner in my mind, just because like I knew what I had to do, like if I wanted to go in and start at Notre Dame. Like,
how'd you know that?
I was told it kind of. Like my dad would tell me that a lot, and like I was just always reminded of like the sacrifice that I have to make to reach the level that I want to be at. And I didn't really have any problem with it. Like once I reached certain levels, like I was like, that's what I sacrificed for, and social life just happened to be one of them. But like I didn't really see a lot of my friends outside of like school hours, I would say.
So you had like friends in school, but then friends in soccer.
Yeah. And that was the nice part too. Like some of my closest friends that I'm like still talk to every day, like we're on my club team. So like when I left school, I was still like surrounded by some of my best friends, and that made it a lot easier too. Yeah,
that's cool. So you're 16, 17 years old when you commit to Notre Dame?
I was a little younger, so maybe like 15.
Wow. So Notre Dame is like, have they been like known as like a powerhouse of a school in soccer? So like that's a big O, because obviously I don't know like women's soccer the way you do, but
yeah. So they are second in like number of national championships won.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Wow. So you basically get like the Alabama football offer as like a young star, and then like commit, and life is soccer. It seems like pretty much almost 24/7. So you're just dialed in, you got your routines, you got everything you're doing. And this might be funny, but like imagine like I'm 15-year-old Sam Fisher sitting here right now, and you're 23 now. So you're 23, and you get to look 8 years back. What do you tell like that girl? And everything's going to work out the way it's worked out. You're a first round draft pick. You're stud at Notre Dame. You win all these accolades. Like all these things happen for you still. Yeah. But like, what do you tell that girl?
I'd probably tell her that like, it'll all be worth it. Like just a daily reminder that like the sacrifices, like the enjoyment of playing soccer and training every single day, like will all be worth it once you reach the level that almost every little girl dreams of, Because I think like sometimes when you get into like the routine of it, you can kind of lose sight of like that long term. And just I would want like that long term to not go away. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
A long term vision.
Yeah. Like understanding. So when did you get to a point where you're like, professional soccer is for me? Like, was it just like who are the players that you looked up to? Is it like the famous ones that we all know, or is it like give me some of them?
I mean, I feel like every little girl loves Mia Hamm. I wore a 9 for a while because of her. And then as I got older, it became like Morgan Bryan, who I actually played with in Chicago this past year.
Yeah.
Like Alex Morgan, obviously, like these big name people who everyone knows pretty much.
Yeah.
But yeah, what was the question?
No, you're good. So it was like you look up to those people, and that was something that you wanted to become, right? Mm-hmm. Did you want to become Mia Hamm? Was that like what you wanted, or was it like you just were playing soccer? Was it like I'm getting to here? Like, you know what I mean? I'm gonna get there.
Like yes and no. Like I loved how they played. I don't know if I like fully believed in myself to like I would be one of those players, you know, but like I wanted to play like them, and they inspired like how I wanted to play, if that makes sense. And once I got older and it became more of like a reality, like the past couple of years where like I could actually start to play with these players, that's when it became kind of surreal in a sense, and I'm playing with them now. So
it's so
it's
cool.
wild. Yeah.
So like my buddies that play professional baseball, obviously we grow up, you know, looking up to these guys that are professional athletes and like superstars in their own right. And like we watch these guys in high school and talk about how good these guys are. And now they're on the bench with these guys. And like, those are their peers. Like those are the people that they're playing with. And at one point you're like looking up to them, and it's pretty crazy, like how fast that happens. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if you've ever thought about it. You're a really humble person, so you probably haven't, but like there's little girls that like are looking at you already. You know what I mean? Like there's little girls that are looking at what you were able to do at Notre Dame, maybe in that South Bend community, in the Chicago community, girls that come to every game that you have no idea are coming to your games, and like they know who you are, you know, and they go to soccer practice and they're envisioning being a professional like you and like doing all those things. So I think it's like really, you can wear that as like a badge of honor, that like all your hard work, like regardless of like what it brings you outside of like, you know, the sport, like I think that is like a huge accomplishment in itself. The fact that like people look up to you and want to be like you. There's a living representation where people are looking at you and saying, wow, like what does it take to become someone like that? And that's why I like having these kind of conversations, because there's so many little things that you've gone through in your life to get to the point where you're at. Like there's so many little moments. There's more things that you've forgotten that have happened to you than you'll ever remember that have put you on this trajectory to here. Like so many little counts of adversity that you have just kind of brushed off and said, oh yeah, that was just part of the process. But like in the moment, that was hard, you know. And you go to Notre Dame. And so the way that Sam and I met was I was training athletes and helping athletes in all sorts of different ways. And we connected, and I had never worked with a soccer player before, but I'd worked with football players, and they moved pretty much the same way. And I remember like getting a text from Sam and saying, man, I better study up on the way these athletes move. And I started to try to figure things out. And then we had a great offseason of training. But when I first met her, and correct me if I'm wrong, she like looked at me. I was like, well, where I start with every athlete is like, what are your goals? Like, what are you looking to get out of this? Like when we're done with our X amount of time, like, where do you see yourself? And Sam was like, well, I've like done CrossFit, but I've never really like trained for like a season. Like I've never trained. I just play soccer. And I'm like, holy shit. Like you got to this level just playing soccer, like just practicing your skill. Wow. And we got to work on like a ton of the things that we'll work with like the NFL guys on speed, all these different details of training. But the biggest thing was Sam wanted to be all conference first thing. She wanted to get her team to win a conference championship, right? You wanted to go work towards a national championship with your team. And you had a ton of success in that 2021 year. I'm not attesting it to your summer of training, but it really was. It catapulted some momentum. But it's funny because like when you're developing, like your approach was so dedicated. You know what I mean? Like you were so dedicated as like in what you're doing. And now you go and you accomplish all those things. You become a first round draft pick. Oh, wait, it was 19th overall though, right?
Yeah.
Oh, is that
second?
Oh, okay. Whoa, second round draft pick. Yeah, my bad. Hey guys, hope you're enjoying the show. Only way this podcast grows is if it's shared. So please share it with your friends, family, or anyone you feel like it can help enhance their performance in their life. A little karma goes a long way. Let's get back to the show. And you go on this team and you get to play with the people that you've always looked up to. What are some things that you've taken from the girls that you get to play with now?
A lot.
Yeah.
I just think about like what I did growing up and like what my journey was as a youth player, and then like seeing some of the girls who have been playing in World Cups who have like won Olympic medals. I'm like, what did you guys do from like such a young age? And like their level of focus and dedication is at like a whole nother level that like I wasn't aware of yet. And like I thought I was pretty good like in that department. And like they're just top tier, and it's like really cool to be around because like it's made me have to be more like that too. Yeah. But there's just like so much that goes into how they play on the field. And that's like what I think I took away most of it from them. Of just like how they focus and film, how they eat, how they like go to bed at 9 p.m. every day when I was going to bed at like 12 and functioning fine, you know? And I'm like, these little things add up to make like top level players. And so like I've tried to slowly implement like some of those into my life, and it's hard because I like my food, and I before wasn't able to like really fall asleep that early. Yeah. But it's like cool to see like little changes when I'm able to do that.
Do you see the benefit? Mm-hmm. You do?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. So it's funny because I like when I coach people towards something like that, I tell them, I go, look, and it's so there's different levels of like skill. So I want to start here. Sam is so highly skilled that she's really picking up these like elite habits of sleep and nutrition at the professional level. There's plenty of people that their skill kind of runs to a certain point and they need to acquire the sleep and nutrition at a younger age. So if Sam wasn't as highly skilled and highly motivated on the soccer field, maybe sleep nutrition needed to become part of her routine at 15, 16 years old. But her skill kind of outplayed that need. Then you get to the professional ranks and everybody is as skilled and physical as you, if not better. So then little things like that become important. But I think there's like there can be a danger in this as well when it comes to athletes. And a lot of times when I work with athletes, they'll do all these things in correlation to getting the result on the field. And like going to bed on time, eating the right foods, training the right way, reading books, all these things are really beneficial. But I always coach my athletes that this should be something that you're doing to better yourself in your life, independent of your sport. Meaning, if you're going to go to bed on time, don't do it because it's going to help you hit a home run or score a goal. Do it because it's going to make you feel better in the morning as a human being first. And then maybe it'll benefit that. So if you work harder on yourself than you do your job ends up becoming easier. And that's a huge focus that I have. So like when I am doing something that might seem like benefiting my job or my career, no, it's like I'm working on myself first, and then the job will take care of itself. So like that's something I want you to stay focused on, is like as you're going through this transformation on like bettering yourself and your routines, like it's for Sam, it's not for Sam's soccer. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like that, and that can be because then what happens when soccer's over? Like you don't go to bed on time. You know what I mean? There's, like that can happen though. And like people, when they're finished playing, like their habits fall apart, and then they're like trying to figure out their shit. And that's not a good place to be. But so these elite competitors, like all they're thinking about is their soccer career. That's what it kind of seems like when you talk to me about it.
Yeah. I mean, like that's also how they've gotten so good too. Mm-hmm. But no, like a lot of these people have like families also. And so it's kind of crazy that they're able to do all this, like have husbands, have kids that like they have on top of that. And so it's cool to see how they're able to balance all that too. So I don't think it's like so clean cut, like they found a way to make it work for them. Yeah. Without it becoming too like intense in a way.
Yeah. What's the speed of the game like at that level?
that was like the hardest thing to adjust to. It's crazy. Like I had to learn very quickly how to play very quickly and almost kind of tweak my game to just kind of like survive in the midfield in preseason last year.
Yeah. What kind of tweaks did you have to make? Like, give me an actual thing that you had to do.
It's just like little things that I've always been told, like growing up, like I need to keep working on, like checking my shoulder. And I would check my shoulder and I would see that I have space behind me. Mm-hmm. And so I would turn, but the closing speed is like so much faster than what I was used to. Like these players are just so much faster, stronger, everything. And so I would turn into players when before I would like be able to turn and then like beat someone. They were like already on my ass, you know?
Yeah.
And so that was really hard because I've always been like a dribbler. Mm-hmm. And when you're a dribbler and not that fast, I feel like in this league, like people catch up to you super quick. So I just had to like learn how to take a little less touches, kind of get the ball off my foot quicker. And then like work on my spacing so I could find a space where I could dribble more. It was just a lot of awareness on the field.
Yeah.
I feel like that would help me get up to the speed of play.
Yeah. So imagine that for a second. You've played a certain way your whole life. You're pretty much like for lack of better terms, the best player on every team you've ever played on. You get to this level and it's like, oh, I got to kind of reinvent what I do.
Yeah. Yeah. It was hard because like I've growing up and like always told like how good of a dribbler I am. Like my coaches always tell me to like take people on, like turn every time I got the ball. And it finally like caught up to me now just because of like the other areas of my game that I like didn't focus on, which were like the physical sides of being fast, of being strong. And so I wasn't able to do the whole dribbling and driving at players like the way that I wanted to anymore. And it was kind of a hard pill to swallow. But like once I was able to change my game and play at the speed and the level that like my team was at, like it became so fun.
Yeah.
And like, even though I've changed my game a little bit, like I feel like it's almost for the better because I'm able to have like more aspects to my game.
Yeah.
So,
okay, we'll pause there for a second. She's killing it. Yeah, she's stud.
Really?
Yeah, you're doing great.
Yay. Yeah. I was wondering how my phone got over there.
We're gonna need to do some research on the soccer community.
Really?
Yeah.
Why are they big?
I don't know.
They're massive.
But like on the talk, when we start clipping her up a little bit, we're gonna pull up some highlights of start researching some Sam Fisher highlights.
No.
Yeah.
No, thanks.
Yep. We're gonna highlight reel you up. No, so do you think that was a bigger adjustment going there physically, or do you think it was more of an adjustment mentally?
At first, it was the biggest adjustment physically, and then it became bigger mentally, I would say. Just because like as time went on, I like wasn't able to do the things that I wanted to do for so long. Like it took a toll on my mental side of the game, like my confidence and everything like that I haven't ever like had trouble with in the past. And so like when I started experiencing like those doubts in myself, like I became so hyper aware of it. Like it almost made me play even worse. Like when I started noticing that. And that's also been like one of the biggest adjustments I had to make is like the mental side of the game, which I hadn't had to before just because that was
it's so great. I mean, like you're I think the coolest thing about like this journey for you is like a lot of times like our talent can take us places that are going to force us to improve some sort of ourselves. You know, it's like when you meet the end of the road with your sports career, it's like most of the time for people, it's like they need to get better physically. And it's like there wasn't really anything physical that kind of hindered you to become a professional. It was like you're always like fast enough. You always dribbled well. You always could execute in the midfield. Like nothing ever kind of hindered on you from the physical like skill standpoint to get to professional soccer. So like once that physical happens, then it becomes part of like the mental. And for the people competing at the highest of levels, the physical is pretty identical across the board. Like it filters down. So you look at the NFL, like they pretty much relatively all run the same at running back. Like they all run the same speed. The quarterbacks all can throw the ball pretty much the same. Like all the players on your team have a basic standard of the way that they go about playing the sport. You can go across any sport and use any example. But then it's like, it's like between the ears, that's the separator. You know, you talk about these girls that are women that were your idols growing up. Like, yeah, they're elite physically, but also elite mentally, you know? And it's like, how do you do that? Like, how do you train that? And a lot of times I've said this to you before, but the reason that like the physical is easy to train is because it's quantifiable. Like we can quantify if you're faster, if you're stronger, we can quantify all those things, but it's like, how do we quantify the athlete and say that they're mentally strong? Like, where is that scale? It's like, you could come up with any sort of test. You could have a psychologist do certain type of tests, but it's like that mentality. I think it's just, what has the person been through and what have they overcome? And you're in an amazing place because you're getting challenged in a whole new way. Like you've been an amazing player and then you get to the highest of ranks and you got to reinvent yourself on the physical. Mm-hmm. So talk a little bit about what you've done this off season to like do that. And I love what you've done, by the way.
So I basically in my exit meeting, my coaches told me like they wanted me to get a whole lot faster and a whole lot stronger because that's where they saw like the difference between like those that were starting and myself. And he even told me, like, he was like, soccer wise, like you can play with anyone. And it's just little things like my explosion that were like in like that 5-10 yard burst past someone that like started to go away. So like I pretty much, well, before that, I've always like during breaks in college have just like played soccer, been with my trainers, Clint and Willie, who we talked about, and trained with them. And I like got some of like the agility, all that type of stuff in the trainings, obviously. But I like have never worked on like strength and speed for like months at a time now. Like we ended in November. And so like when I came here, we pretty much hit the ground running and I've been going until today. And so until I head back, it's been now like what, 2.5-3 months.
Yeah. You've never trained that consistently before.
No. And it's about like none in the weight room or like speed work, conditioning, all that. And so we have like a little group going out in Agora, and it was like me and 4 or 5 other like college girls who were entering the draft. And so we all like worked together. We had some like 7 a.m., 6 a.m. days. We would spend like an hour in the weight room and then go straight to the field after that, spend about like 30, 45 minutes on like agility, conditioning, speed work. And then we would play like 5v5, however many numbers we had for the day. Some other girls would come back and join, and we had some like Angel City girls come by. So we had like a really good group, and it's been fun. So I've seen like myself grow in the areas that I wanted to work on, which has been really like fun to see, what I was hoping for. But yeah, so I'm hoping that it now just translates onto the field when I go back and start preseason.
100% will. And you'll have that step, and you'll be with, that the girl that you weren't with last year, you the step behind that you were last year, maybe like you'll have that step on them, and then it will all kind of like even out for you. And you put in those three consistent months where it's 90 days of consistent work, probably got close to 90 sessions in. And like you're going to see it translate and happen for yourself on the field, and it's going to kind of free you up and let like your skill shine. So it's really exciting, like the kind of position that you've put yourself in order to go achieve at that level. Yesterday, we were kind of talking about the neutral mindset and observing rather than judging. What'd you like get out of that conversation? I'm just kind of interested.
Like taking each rep. We're talking about that one, right? Like,
yeah, just whatever we kind of talked about with the mental game, and like, I'm just kind of interested on what you took away from that.
I took away that it's important to like acknowledge almost every rep that you do. And whether that's like good and bad, like for the bad ones per se, like just realizing and recognizing like what went wrong, like for like myself, like is my plant foot too close to the ball when I'm shooting it, like things that are like very like that you can change pretty quickly. And then for the good ones, like you also have to acknowledge those because you probably have more good ones than bad ones. Was I spot on?
Yeah,
Are we
I
talking
love
about
it.
the same
Yeah,
thing?
it makes me so
Let's
happy.
go.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you like just straight
I was
up for the
actually
list.
thinking about this a lot.
Really?
Since we've had this conversation.
That's great.
Because I was just thinking about like, I probably have had so many good practices in the past year that like I just didn't give myself enough credit for.
Yeah.
And, like I beat myself up so much on like the bad practices when it like, in reality, it was only like maybe 2-3 months of the whole season where like I didn't feel like myself, but it felt like an eternity because I was just like so in my head about it all.
Yeah.
But like I probably had some good passes and some good shots in there somewhere.
A lot of times like we get, I call it like kind of getting entrenched in your own world. Like you can't see a world outside of it. And that's good. Like you get inside of an organization and like you can't see anything other than the Chicago Red Stars. Like, you know what I mean? Like nothing really matters than your craft and like who you're playing next and what the film looks like and what my goal. And you just kind of like get wrapped up in that world. And when we're so wrapped up inside it, you can't really acknowledge and kind of like move out of it. And I worked with a Buddhist monk one time and he called it the spiderweb effect. And he also used an example of like a cluttered garage. Like if you're stuck in a spider's web and they throw a web down or they throw a strand down to create a bigger web, and that's like a thought in your head, you'll just kind of get slowly like wrapped up in that. And that's that world where you can't recognize and observe. Mm-hmm. So for reference, what Sam and I talked about yesterday, and she nailed it, she was spot on. But when we work with the athletes, like my primary focus when it comes to the mental game is first establishing a place from observation. So we want to observe what we're doing rather than judge ourselves for it. And what that means is if we're observing and we're acknowledging what's happening rather than affirming or putting ourselves down, then we won't have such a roller coaster of events. Many times, like we have roller coaster of seasons because something good happens and we affirm ourselves and we feel great about it and it's good and hip, hip, hooray. And then the next day something goes wrong and we beat ourselves up for it. And then the second thing that we really touched on was in practice, like how do you practice this? And this is the way I teach my athletes for how you practice the mental game is through the physical. So what we want to do is we want to just acknowledge everything that happens in terms of from a place of observation. So if we go to practice and we take a rep, we're going to stack a rep either way. So Sam was talking about her plant foot executing the shot on goal that she wants, and you know her shot is executed. It felt right. It was good. You got to acknowledge that you liked that rep, and then the same goes for it. If it didn't go well, you're going to acknowledge what needs to improve rather than saying, "Oh, it just didn't go good." You ask yourself, "How can I improve that?" And you give yourself a quick tip on how you can improve it because you know as the athlete how you're going to improve that. But then what happens is if you're already at a high level, even if you're not at a high level, if you're playing it competitively, you're probably going to have more good reps than bad. So where players lack confidence is because they're only stacking the negative reps. They're building that spider web. They're trenching themselves in bad thoughts. And so they just remember all the bad ones. Even like the way it's funny how our brains work as competitors, but like you even addressed, like when you were explaining it, you addressed what you needed to work on more than like what you did well. Like the first thing you wanted to go to was the negative thing, like this is what I need to get better at, instead of saying like, I do this really well. I do this really well. I do this really well. And that's okay. That's natural because you're a humble person. But what's going to happen when you go back this season, you're faster, your physical's there, you're going to take your mentality and you're going to go out on the field and you're going to realize that, oh my God, like I feel so good about these 15 things I did at practice. And then you're going to watch the film and you say, okay, I could work on that. I could work on that. That was a really good shot. Okay, I could work on that. Wow, that was a really good pass. I like that pass. Instead of watching the film and saying, that didn't look right. that didn't look right. Oh my God, I can't believe I let that one go. Mm-hmm. And that's what we naturally do. So when we're working the biomechanical with an athlete, and they want to watch film, if they want to watch film with me, every single rep, and it's monotonous, but I make them acknowledge 3 things that they did right in the video before we talk about the things we work on. And it kind of sounds like cheesy, but it's like, no, like there's so many more things that we're doing right here than we're doing wrong. You got to know that. Like you got to know that. So then they list off the 3 things that they're doing right. And then it automatically kind of brings them back to neutral, because they look at the film initially and they're in a negative mindset. Like, oh my God, my back hip isn't doing that. Like I need to do that with my arm, or I need to do this with my eyes. And it's like, nope, say 3 good things. So then they see the 3 good things, and then they kind of shift back to the neutral. And now we can look at it from a place of observation and say, yep, okay, the back hip does need some work. What do you do now? How do you do it? Why do you need to do it? You answer these questions, and then they go execute it, and then they get to observe it from a neutral perspective rather than beating themselves up. Mm-hmm. I think the natural thing for us to do is to beat ourselves up. You've always been kind of acknowledged and affirmed for how good you were. So like your coaches in the past, Sam, you're a great dribbler. Sam, you're so fast. Sam, you're so good. And then you get to the pros and it's like, where is that? Like no one's saying that. Mm-hmm. You're like, what? Am I not good anymore? No, you're still the same Sam Fisher that has all these acknowledgments I just read off. Like you're still that player. It's just no one's telling you are. So it's like, who tells you? You tell you. You know what I mean? And I think that's like the callous that these high achievers and the girls that you get to be around, that's what they've built. They know how good they are. Mm-hmm. They don't have anyone telling them how good they are. Yeah. You know what I mean? And even if they are, they just kind of, thanks. Mm-hmm. It's not like they get lost in it. They're just like, yep.
Yeah.
I'm that good.
As we're talking about it, I was just thinking about like how, and the whole like film situation too of it. And we talked about it yesterday of like chasing that feeling of like when you have a good game, right? Mm-hmm. And like I remember when I would have a good game and I like felt that feeling, like I was so much more positive with myself on the film. And like when I didn't have a good game and I was watching, or like I didn't have that feeling after the game, like, and I would watch film, like I was so much more negative on myself. And so it's just interesting to like, realize that.
Yeah, totally. Like understanding that feeling. So like, how do we recreate that feeling so we feel good about our performance? Like, how do we feel good about our performance? And so when it comes down to it, like you can look at something called the feel versus the real. So the real is the film. The film doesn't lie. The feeling is out there. Yeah, I felt good. Like I was beating them to the ball. Like I was faster than them. Like my moves worked, or whatever it is for you in your sport. And like you have that feeling, and then you go back at the film. What are you looking for? You're looking for all the things that you felt. Mm-hmm. And then when it doesn't go right, you're beating yourself up on the sideline after you get pulled from the game or from the practice, whatever the situation is. And you're like thinking about those things. So then when you go back and watch the film, you're looking for that. Yeah. So it's like, what are we looking for in our life? Yeah. You know what I mean? So that's a big question. And that's how I really believe like opportunities keep falling like in my lap, is because I'm here like seeking it. You know what I mean? Like I'm doing the right thing day in, day out, and like acknowledging people, not affirming people, not putting people down, but I'm just like really neutral on what I'm doing. And I can look at opportunities from a neutral perspective now. I wasn't there as an athlete though. Like, and I think my why behind why I do it and why I love what I do is because like this was the biggest thing I struggled with. You know, like I had this feeling where like when I was competing, I was never like enough to succeed. It was always like, it wasn't good enough. Like it wasn't good enough. Like all the way down to a micro level of like a pitch. Like I throw a pitch by somebody, it's down and away, they swing and miss, it was a strike. If he took it, it probably would have been a ball. And like that was my self-talk. And it was like crippling. So crippling. And I'm like, when I ask you the question, like, what would you tell, 14-year-old Sam? Like what I would tell, really when it started happening for me when I was like 18, what I would tell 18-year-old me is like, dude, you're fucking good. Like you can succeed. Like you can really succeed at this. If you let yourself and acknowledge all the things you're doing right and not keep beating yourself up for all the things you're doing wrong, like you could be really good at this game. And so I think like when I look at someone like you who has like made it to a super high level, the reason I get so passionate about it for you is because you're like, you kind of like felt those conversations, those internal conversations a little bit this past season. And I look at you and I'm like, no, you're fucking Sam Fisher. Like you're a stud. Like look at how good you are. And not to affirm you, but just to acknowledge the fact of how freaking good you are. And then you look at that and you go from a place of confidence and you're like, yeah, like, I don't care if you want a gold medal or you're on the USA team. Like I compete with you. That's who I compete with. That's who I am. And so like, how do we create that? Like what do we do to create that? I think it's up to the individual. And I think you're finding your way on how to create that. And I think that's really exciting. So identifying, I think like what I want to lead this to is like, identify the things that create the feeling. What do you think creates that feeling where you feel good about you playing? So like unpack that. Like what do those good feeling games, what do they have in common?
I was always playing like really proactive versus reactive. That's something we always talk about. Like I was able to anticipate where the pass was going to go so I could step there quicker, so I could win that tackle. Like it's things that happen before the play happens that I got to do to make sure I make the play happen, you know? And I was just like playing freely. Like it's always weird when you go to a new team and you're like trying to learn a new system, trying to learn how to play with new players, like always trying to do like these little things right. And I was trying to like always focus on where am I supposed to be like defensively. I don't want to be out of position defensively because I know that's going to be on film if I am, you know?
So you're thinking about that.
Yeah. And so like when in the games where I was feeling like really good, like I don't remember having those thoughts in the game. Whereas like in other games, I can like pinpoint like what I was thinking at certain times. And you can just like tell I'm like overthinking because I'm not doing them as like free flowing.
So the faster the brain moves, the slower the feet move.
Yeah. And it just kind of like, I think they call it like the flow when you're in the flow of a game.
Yeah.
And
flow state.
Yeah. And it's so fun when you're in it. But I'm like,
I feel
how
you.
the hell do I get in it? Like sometimes it just happens. And I feel like some days it just doesn't happen. Yeah. And that's where I'm like kind of stuck trying to figure out how to make it happen every day, you know?
Yeah. How to recreate the flow state.
Yeah,
do you think it's preparation in part? Like, is it film study? Is it, what is it?
I think a lot of it has to do with like my self-talk going into a game. Like there were just a lot of different like situations I was put in, like 4 games. One of them being like when we came to play LA and like I was starting, I didn't really find out I was starting until like the day before. And I didn't know I was going to even see the field before that day, you know? And so there were just like so many emotions going through me that I think I tried my best not to like get swallowed up in all those emotions. But I think it happened like a little bit just because there was so much going on. Yeah. That I didn't like play my best. Like apart from that was like also one of like the best days of my life. But then when I think about like when I was just kind of going out there and like didn't really have any expectations of myself, like just trying to make my teammates proud, like make myself proud and play like that. Like that's when I was having my best games.
Mm-hmm. So did you feel free in that game against LA? Was that kind of a medium? Medium.
Like I think I had so much adrenaline.
Sure.
Like I think that kind of like took over a lot of it.
Yeah.
But I definitely didn't do everything that like I wanted to do in that game. I got a good shot off. I thought I was going to almost score in the beginning. And I was like, that would have been crazy.
Yeah.
But after that, like once the game slowed down a little bit, I found it difficult to like find my groove in that game.
Yeah. That was amazing though. I thought like, I was fortunate to be there and like see that. I don't know anything. Like I'm not a soccer scout, right? Like I don't know anything about your craft the way you do, but I mean, to me, you looked aggressive. You looked like you're full of spirit, like playing at a high energy. Like definitely the adrenaline was high. Stadium was sick. Like thousands of people going nuts, like loving it. Yeah, I mean, it was a really cool environment to like play in. Yeah, it was, like when I say it was like one of the best days of my life, like it actually was. Yeah, your whole family was there. Yeah, and like my whole family was there. I had
friends like coming to the game, and it was my hometown. Like I have one of my best friends on LA too. So also like seeing her and playing against her. And against like, I don't even know what it was, almost like 20,000 people. Yep. And so I remember like it was a very specific moment, like where it was like before kickoff. And I told myself, I was like, I want you to remember this moment. And like I tried to take a few deep breaths, like look around the stadium and try to like take it all in. And I'm glad I gave myself that moment, like regardless of how the game went. Like I know we lost, but like it was just such a special day for me personally. And it definitely is not going to be one that I forget.
Yeah.
So,
but I think like there's what you've done, and I think what you've done over the 90 days of like your off season, which is incredibly short, but what you've done is you've prepared yourself to like have more of those moments. Like people don't understand like the amount of work that goes into having that 90 minutes. You know what I mean? Like there is so much work that transpires to have that moment where people can go to be so proud of you. You know what I mean? Like I went there and brought friends, like, cause I was so proud to like share like you with them, like what you were able to accomplish, but the amount of work that took place to get there, it's insane. Like how much that is, and like how good you have to be and how disciplined you have to be and all those things to experience something at that level. It's not for everyone. Like that is not for everyone. So regardless of all the nights that like you missed hanging out with your friends, or the nights you went to bed in college rather than going out with the girls, and where you don't feel like you get to be in your 20s playing professional soccer, like that's fucking worth it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
that
that feeling
like,
right there.
When I would tell my 14-year-old that it'll be all like worth it.
Yeah.
Like that was one moment where I was like, this is insane.
Yeah.
Like I'm here.
I'll put 10,000 hours to have this 90 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I got like 47, but
I know.
so,
yeah. But I mean, I know we were pissed. Like, I think it was like just after halftime, like you got pulled out. You're playing so good. Like you got so many touches and like you got a shot off on goal and all those things.
Yeah. The way the cookie crumbled.
Yeah, it's okay. I'm glad you started that game. That was fun. What kind of goals do you have, or aspirations or focus points are you going to take into this 23 season?
One of my goals is to just be like more of a leader on the field. Like I know I'm still so young on the team, but like growing up, I've always kind of had like that role. Like at Notre Dame, I was a 2-time captain, and like I really enjoyed being a leader. And as a rookie, I found it really hard to try to like
be that,
speak up and like be that when I'm playing with like 30-year-olds and things like that. But now that I'm no longer a rookie and there's going to be some girls younger than me, and like I know some of them like coming in, which is really helpful. Like I want to kind of help them in that situation and like make their transition a little bit easier. And hopefully like if I'm doing well, like it's easier to be a leader.
Sure. It's called leading through performance.
Yeah. And that's kind of like how I've always grown into like a leadership role on a team, is just like through my performance and leading by example and like what I do. So I'm hoping like that'll happen throughout this year. Do
you have any strategy behind that or no? So like, for example, like when like I was a captain in college, and like one of my things was, you know, you're already like, I think we are best equipped to help the person we once were. Mm-hmm. So that's like our role. Like that's the reason that you're like, I want to help those rookies. Like intuitively, you're like, I was that person. I was a little sped up. Like it was a little fast for me. Like I was a little unsure. So what is your heart? Like you have a beautiful heart, and what do you want to do? You want to go help that person. Like when I say, hey, what do you want to do? Like that was the first thing that came to your head organically. You want to help that rookie. And yes, that's a fantastic way to be a leader. That was one of my strategies. I was sped up as a freshman in college. Like it was really hard for me. And so when I became a junior in college, I made sure that I took every single freshman to lunch. So like throughout the fall, right? Like I have, 3 months. It's not planned. It's just like you're in the locker room with them and you're like, hey, you got class? No, I got all right, let's go get a sandwich.
Yeah.
All right. buy him a sandwich. Like simple. You know what I mean? A $10 investment to sit down and just hear what that person's about. And I didn't even realize I was doing that. Like I wasn't planned. It wasn't that. And I went to a game 2 years after I graduated, and a mom told me, because that kid was a senior now, or excuse me, he was a junior. And the mom told me that story. And she was like, Elijah told me like that when he was a freshman, you took him to lunch and you guys talked about things and you like gave him some guidance. And I was like, I did. I was like, I didn't. And like the impact that made on that kid was like huge. Like he felt more comfortable. He felt more like himself because so like I extended that hand. It was routine. It was like, of course I'm going to do this for this person. Like, of course I'm going to take this guy to lunch because like, why wouldn't you? Mm-hmm. Like, I know he's like missing home a little bit. I know he's a little sped up by how much stuff he's got to do right now. Like, why wouldn't you take that guy to lunch? And the truth is like, sometimes we get so sped up in our own spider web. You know, we get so wrapped up in our world. We get so wrapped up that we forget to extend a hand and help somebody. So I think your intuition on being a leader is exactly that. You help someone.
Yeah. Like I just remember last year, especially the first few months, like how in my own like head that I was, and I just like don't really, because I wasn't playing my best. And obviously like to be a winning team, like you need everyone to be like at their best. And like, whether that's you're on the bench or whatever, but like, that's where I want our team to like do so much more. And I think like just building more of like a team chemistry will go such a long way. Cause like, to be honest, like in the pro like world, it's a job. And so you don't sometimes like build those connections like with your teammates as easy as you do when you're in college and you're like surrounded with each other all the time. And so like, that's kind of like my goal is to just help that team chemistry a little bit. And I think like organically that'll just help us on the field.
100%.
And like if they're feeling comfortable, I'm feeling comfortable, like I'm hoping that'll help me play a little bit better too this year. And so we'll see. Yeah,
no, it's going to help. And like, but even if it's just one person, like even if it's one rookie on the team, or it's somebody, you know, that needs like a friend on the team that you didn't even realize like needs a friend. Like we all need support and we all need someone to have our back and we all need someone to tell us we're doing a good job. Like everybody needs that. Yeah. It comes from different people. And in that college world, you just kind of know and you all gravitate together because you're always on top of each other. Like you said, that kind of happens organically. But in the pro atmosphere, like the best teams that I've been around, they have that continuity. They have that culture. Like they have each other's back. Whether it's like friendly shit talk or it's whatever it is, like getting a workout in together or going, you know, doing whatever, like you're doing something together away from the facility, away from that. Then you have that, you know, person you can rely on and person you can trust. It's going to go so far for you as a person because then you're going to have that feeling. Like that good feeling that you have doesn't only happen in soccer. Like we all wake up and sometimes we have that good feeling like today's going to be a good day. Or you go to the beach and you have your little routine and you read a book and you're like, you have a good lunch, you go eat sushi or whatever it is. And you're like, man, today was a good day, you know? And sometimes you have that day, it's raining and you go have a shitty training session and you get cut off and it's just a bad day. For you, it's like, all right, how can we create our best days? Like, how can I create that feeling so that when I go watch the film, I'm looking for the good things rather than the bad things? It might be like, oh, I look at so-and-so and I help her out and that kind of makes me feel better and makes her feel better. And then we have a better day. So I think that's like such a great approach that you're going to take towards leadership. So then it's really exciting for you.
Yeah, I'm excited. It's going to start soon here. So I got to flip into shapes.
Yeah. You're going to leave tomorrow?
Yeah, I'm leaving tomorrow, 2:30.
How long's training camp?
We haven't gotten our like schedule of games yet, but probably about like 2 months.
2 months. So you do 90 days of the off season on your own, 2 months of training camp with the team. And then it's how many games do you play in a season?
Well, season itself is 28 games.
Okay. But that spans from when to when?
We started last year about like late March, I think, and ended a little bit before Halloween.
Yeah. So it's a long time.
Yeah.
It's a lot of practices. Soccer, like you're playing 2 games a week, basically.
Yeah. Here and there.
Here and there, and traveling all over the country, on and off flights. Yeah. It's a lot. Like, it's a lot you're going to put yourself through. But I think you're ready. I think you're going to dominate and have a great year.
I hope so.
Yeah. Well, thanks for coming on, Sam. That was great.
Thanks for having me. It was
Perfect.
fun.
Perfect. Hey guys, thanks for listening to the show. I hope you benefited from this. Give the show a follow, share it, and comment what you'd like to hear more of so we can help more people perform in all aspects of their lives.